How close are we to electric planes? Nowadays, climate change and global warming has been a hot topic of conversation everywhere. And why wouldn't it be? Finally, human beings feel that they are in a difficult spot. The constant flow of bad news from the media about the impacts of global warming are taking their toll on everybody. But fortunately, in some corners of the earth, we have the hope of innovation, of startups that are focusing on creating solutions. And the only solution that made sense is the future of zero-emission vehicles. Electric vehicles provide a promising solution to the transportation energy problem and climate change concern, as the automobile industry is reaching new highs in reducing its carbon footprint. The future of electric planes is also on the horizon. Yes, it's time to clear the sky. But how? What could a future with electric planes look like? Curious to know? Then switch this video to full screen and watch this video till the end. Hello everyone, welcome to Tech United, a channel where you can find everything about tech. And in today's video, we are going to talk about how close we actually are to those electric planes. But before we head into the video, consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and also don't forget to press the bell icon. With that being said, let's begin. The environmental impact of carbon emission has taken the center stage, and taking major steps in this regard is the need of the hour. Do you know, in 2019, air travel accounted for 2.5% of global carbon emissions? A relatively small figure, but one that is poised to grow sharply as more of the world takes to the skies. Aviation is one of the biggest contributors to carbon emissions. Airplane emissions have increased by 4.3% each year since 1999, and are expected to make up 25% of the world's carbon emissions by 2050. However, in recent years, new and more efficient engines have helped reduce fuel consumption and harmful emissions. But despite the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, the global passenger and cargo air traffic is set to grow by 4% a year to 2040. We need to have a sustainable solution, and that would be electric planes. As we know, for over the past few years, the battery industry has largely focused on cars, yielding steady incremental improvements to a particular scientific approach. This involves lithium ions that move between a cathode composed of a few metal oxides including nickel, cobalt, manganese, and iron, and an anode made of graphite. We must say, this classic recipe has gotten pretty good. Recently, lithium-ion batteries have pushed the range of passenger cars past 400 miles, about as good as many combustion engines, and enough to overcome the range anxiety that might make some drivers reluctant to go electric. But as they approach the theoretical limit of how much energy they can store, lithium-ion batteries remain well short of what's required for most aircraft. The aviation industry has been grappling with this problem for a while. They need enough power for takeoff, then enough energy to safely cruise over long distances. Green aviation will require different approaches to make the future of zero-emission airplanes around the corner. Put simply, net zero means we are not adding new emissions to the atmosphere. Emissions will continue, but will be balanced by absorbing an equivalent amount from the atmosphere. If we continue to pump out the emissions that cause climate change, however, temperatures will continue to rise well beyond 1.5, to levels that threaten the lives and livelihoods of people everywhere. That's why a growing number of countries are making commitments to achieve carbon neutrality, or net zero emissions, within the next few decades. It's a big task requiring ambitious actions starting right now. A wide range of companies have shown interest in electric planes. Electric airplanes could provide the scale of transformation required, and many companies are racing to develop them. Not only would electric propulsion motors eliminate direct carbon emissions, they could reduce fuel costs by up to 90%, maintenance by up to 50%, and noise by nearly 70%. The concept is similar to electric cars, but in the air. Instead of using traditional fuel to power a plane, which releases large amounts of pollution, electric planes use large batteries that are chargeable and provide a powerful and clean flight. There are a number of roadblocks to conquer before we can hop on an electric plane. The most obvious is battery power. Electric planes are ideal for trips less than 1,000 miles, which produce 40% of all aviation emissions, but are still short enough to ideally travel on a single charge. While today's batteries seem to be effective, they aren't powerful enough to be used in anything more than a small plane that only flies short distances. Batteries need to be smaller and lighter before they can be used on commercial planes. Fuel is very dense and includes a lot of energy in a relatively small space and weight, which batteries need to be able to match or improve. Months ago, along with other battery and aviation experts, Vishwanathan published in Nature what he considers a wake-up call to the industry to invest in basic science beyond moving around lithium ions. The authors advocate for new cathodes involving more exotic materials, some of which produce what are known as conversion reactions, which move more electrons and can potentially pack more energy. Even NASA has been working on electric planes for the past decade, grappling with the laws of physics that haven't dogged the mainstream adoption of electric cars. Currently, to power a 737-sized jet with electricity would require a battery the size of the plane itself. That's just not feasible. It would be too heavy to take off, let alone fly, Heidman said. Weight is quite a bit more important for planes than cars. NASA has created the X-57, an experimental two-seater electric plane. It expects it will have a range of about 100 miles and a cruising speed of 172 miles per hour. Private companies, meanwhile, are eyeing smaller regional flights of up to 500 miles as a first step. It's good to see that airlines are coming under increasing pressure to cut emissions in order to address the climate crisis, particularly given the shift to clean energy already underway in the power sector and other modes of transportation. Airlines say they are optimistic. So let's see what are some of the strategies they are looking forward to. Green fuel. The airline industry believes its quickest path to net zero is replacing jet fuel with sustainable aviation fuel, SAF, made from renewable sources, such as plants or used cooking oil. In theory, SAF can cut flight emissions by around 80%, depending on how it is made. But SAF is not widely available because of cost. The United States and other countries are considering subsidies to bring prices down and supplies up. In the meantime, some airlines are blending small amounts into their fuel. Offsets. Even if SAF can replace petroleum fuel completely, it still only reduces emissions by 80% at best. The rest could be written off with carbon offsets, financial instruments that allow an emitter to pay someone else to cut emissions. Offset credits are generated by investing in clean energy projects, planting trees, or supporting other types of efforts that keep emissions from the atmosphere. Airlines and other industries are already making these investments. Electric and hydrogen. Electric power is vital in the flight to meet future environmental targets. Research into greener global transport suggests. While electric aircraft may have been around for decades, experts agree battery technology will have to advance a fair way in terms of both weight and storage to make large commercial electric planes a reality. But smaller electric passenger planes are already flying and may be certified for revenue-earning use in the near future, with significant development being seen in larger plane aviation projects. The technologies are still far from commercial use, with batteries, heavy, and hydrogen fuel still unproven in planes. So you might be wondering when we will see electric planes? Many experts predict that electric planes could be relatively commonplace within 20 years. However, they will likely be small planes that can hold around 100 passengers and will fly mostly between regional airports. The potential in this arena is huge. The electric aircraft industry is projected to reach more than $22 billion by 2035. But we can't just only rely on this part of the solution. To control the problem of climate change, we have to be a part of the solution on an individual level. We are all responsible as individuals in terms of changing our habits and living in a way which is more sustainable and which does less harm to the planet, making the kind of lifestyle changes which marks the difference. Electric vehicles provide a promising solution to the transportation energy problem and climate change concern. However, we need to be more responsible on our parts. What is your insight about this? What do you think about the changes that will come with electric planes? Comment down the insight below. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you can get the notification as and when we upload any new video. That was it for today. See you in the next video. Until then, stay safe. Peace.